guy, all right, he was born like, if I'm not mistaken, 20 years also after Tiffany. I know after Frank Lloyd Wright. So see the difference so I'm now doing like progression in art design, glass art design. So you can see now the difference, the flow. So this guy likes to experiment on different techniques, different materials. So earlier I mentioned, right, what he's doing now is fused glass. Fused glass is using different types of materials like glass beads, glass dust. As you can see in those containers, those are different types of glass powder. So it's like glass that is powdered and segregated into colors. And he uses that as accents. And he also has those, those crushed glass that he also mixes. So how do you do fused glass? Okay, fused glass is different from blown glass because you need a kiln infusing glass. So everything here is flat, unlike blown glass wherein you really have motion, you really have to have that stamina because you are faced with a hot, very, very hot furnace every time you do not blown or hand blown glass. But this one, you just put it in a furnace and then just leave it there for a couple of minutes or a couple of hours. So this is how he does his art. See, I mean, his designs are really off the chart actually, and from fused glass to leaded glass, it's all the same. It's something that you will think and look and just stare at it. So that's what happened. I mean, I was reading through his works when I was still in stained glass, and this is the particular glass that caught my attention. This one in 1983. He also likes to do a lot of domes, really. And he is commissioned to do this. It's not that he wants to, but he is commissioned to do this. So this one is Basilica. I think this one, if I'm not mistaken, is in Italy. And the one on the right is in Mexico. So you can see the colors are the same. He has the same, color tone, but different approach. And his latest work, I think you're familiar with this one. It is the biggest, actually, it's the biggest ceiling or dome made. This one is in Asia, okay, and I'll show you the process of how he does this. So we start off with the site. This is the actual site before it was installed, and at the same time he does all his actual artwork because of this size. It really cannot fit A1 or A0 size drawing. You really need to have a one whole plywood actual design. So to tell you about this particular glass, this one is what do you call that? It is cut, or it is made into like 4 quadrants, and this is a monument built in Taiwan. Okay, so these are the process that I go through the process. We do the final artwork, and then glass blowing, because his glass is very different, and most of his glass you cannot find from sheets, so you have to make your own glass. He has to make his own glass. So this is how it's done. As you can see, like it's blown, it's like a small blob, and then when he blows it, it will become like a longer one, elongated one, and then in the middle of this particular piece, while it's still hot, they cut that into 2, and after cutting it, it will open up into a sheet. Okay, so after it is being cut, it'll come out like this one. So these are all rondelles, and then assembly. So this is the process of making stained glass actually, and then leading and soldering. So it may look like it's a simple process, but in between process of assembly, from the time it is cut, is very challenging actually. And because you have to like mix and match colors, and at the same time make sure that the colors, because it's different when it's not yet fused, or it's not yet baked. We call it baked. I call it baked because it's really like baking different pieces of glass into an oven. So it's really different. So when you look at it, it looks simple, but it's not. And after the pre-assembly process, then you do the lead and soldering, then the installation. And the finished product is this one. So has anybody been to Taiwan to see this? If you haven't, please. This one is just an MRT station at the southern part of Taiwan. And I tell you, you have to spend like a few minutes or a few hours just looking at it. And they have light works. Okay, so this is Cogliata. Now these are the pieces together, different pieces, which depicts different types of themes. Yeah. Okay. So now after this one, after my stint in stained glass, I had an opportunity to work with another company. So for me, okay, when an opportunity knocks, think about it, and then okay, let's change. Not really changing careers or changing. It's like still in glass, but different material or different approach. So I work with a company that started decorative color back glass. When I say decorative, it's not just plain color back glass. It's more or less definitely color back, but different types of color back. Meaning it's not just the regular rainbow color, RGB color. This one can be matched according to your specification. And the difference, okay, I think somebody also asked a question, the difference about how, I think, is that paint? How long will the paint last? Okay, depending on the material that you're using, raw material, okay, this paint is, I think, okay, we have several paints at time. One is from Australia and the other one is from Italy. You have to know the source, you have to know the supplier, and at the same time, you have to know what type of materials they're using. Okay, this color back is not just the ordinary Anzal paint that you spray or Boysen. Okay, I mean, Boysen is a good paint, okay, but you cannot use that on glass because glass has a tendency to be porous, and at the same time, nothing will stick to it unless you apply something on it, like a primer. So there are several processes in applying this type of glass: primer, color, hardener. Without the hardener, it won't stick, it won't last. And during that time when I started this one, we had a lot of R&Ds. It has to go through a lot of testing. Lucky that time there wasn't any ISO, there wasn't any, certification, VOC requirements. Nowadays, if you do glass or anything that has to do with chemical on glass, you have to go through a lot of certification, a lot of testing. And here in Singapore, everything has to go through the government to make sure they pass the standard. So that's something that future designers must consider when you start your careers. Like find products that match some certifications or has certifications. Something you have to consider. Okay, so this one is one of the projects that I did. As you can see, the type of phones used was like, oh my gosh. Okay, so you know how old this is, right? Anyway, another project that I did is like combination of two colors. Now I'm showing you this because these are the times when we were struggling to get approval from clients just using color back or paint on glass. Nobody heard about paint on glass that time. They were like paint on walls, paint on wood, paint on, but not on glass. So it was like what we call that, not success, but it was something that I'm proud of that time that we started this type of glass processing. Okay, so as you can see also, not just regular glass, we can not just regular colored glass, we also do granite. Now this granite finish is from Italy because we need to find the specs to create this type of finish. And I'm very thankful to designers who really trust me, like, glass, will that break? What if compared to wood, this one will there be any problems? Will the paint come off? I want to put this in the splash back. There might be burn marks. No, that's why I said when you do something, you have to consider all these questions. That's why for me, if you ask me a question and I don't know the answer, I will find out for you. And it's like also a learning process. So all these questions was asked. So I more or less we found a solution. No, this one won't break because we use tempered glass. Okay, can this come in different shapes? Yes, as you can see, but we have to have a pattern or a template. Can this be what do you call that? Adhere to the wall? Will the paint come off? No. Why? Because we had boiling tests, we had scratch tests, we had acid tests. So okay, for the clients, okay. How about adhesion? Okay, adhesion, okay, we will require you to use very high bond 3M. Okay, I specifically say very high bond 3M and non-aesthetic sealant specifics. If you don't follow this instruction, I'm sorry, your warranty is void. I will not do any repair work for you. So that's how we do things that time. And people were like, okay. And then question of price. Okay, why is it your glass is so expensive than this company? Say, okay, what do you mean? How much difference? Half the price. Okay, half the price. Why? What type of glass they use? Okay, same. What type of paint do they use? They don't know. Why don't you know what type of paint? Because they say supplier don't give you, but it's still paint. It's still the same color. Okay, then you go with them. No point talking, right? Don't waste your time. Because if you have products that will explain or how you say justify the cost, why will you compromise it with the safety? And because you're living in a place like your home, definitely your primary goal is safety. Secondary is of course aesthetics. Like this one, okay, so this one is one of my few projects that I did before I left for Singapore. And I made sure that I get this project right because the designer is one of my favorites also. So I have a lot of favorite designers actually. And I work with them closely. And even if they call me at 10 o'clock in the evening, 11 o'clock in the evening, okay, no worries. Okay, so this one is like still color back, as you can see, but for all walls. There are two rooms. One is for the boys' room, one is for the girls' room. And the other one later I'll show you for the master's bedroom. So these are walls and mirrors. So as you can see, it's seamlessly applied onto the wall, right? You won't know that it is glass unless I tell you it's glass. And I really had a very hard time convincing the client to use this type of glass because I said, he wants to use tiles. Okay, but what's the disadvantages of using tiles? Okay, you have small pieces. Okay, so you can do also big piece. Okay, fine, but you cannot cut it according to the dimensions that you want, and you cannot have angled edges. And it's funny about this project because the client is also meticulous. So me being meticulous also as well, like we had arguments like, okay, how are we going to cut the glass? Then we're going to have lines. My line work is only 1 to 2 mm. Sure, 1 to 2 mm, yeah. Standard, okay, standard tolerance for butt joint is 3 mm. So if your glass is like 3 mm separate, it's still past the standard. But for this client, he wants 1 to 2 mm. Okay, so how are we going to do it? That's the problem. How are we going to do it? Okay, use templates. Okay, templates. At the same time, you have to have a plywood backing behind, prepared, ready. Must be straight, must be flat. Anything that's not flat, not acceptable. We're not going to install. Something like that. Okay, and then when everything was settled, now comes the accessories. So at first it was just like carcass. Then okay, all the holes were plotted nicely. All the openings for the AC, what do you call that? Yeah, AC or power points were cut nicely. Then comes the cover. So this is one of the arguments I still remember very vividly. See the lines, why is it in the center? Why is it in the center of my socket? Why is it in the center of the PowerPoint? Say, I just follow instructions. And then before I even cut the glass, there are drawings that state that it will look like this. Yeah, but I didn't know that it will go through the actual PowerPoint. That's why you see drawings are very important and must be signed off. Otherwise, it will be an issue. But he signed the drawing, so I got away with it. But I did highlight to them that, or designers also, that if you're going to open up PowerPoints, right, you have to consider the finish and how it look like after. Begin with the end in mind. That's how I think. Begin with the end. How will it look like in the end before I even like start doing it? Because if you're not like that, and then you just, oh, never mind, whole, okay, PowerPoint, okay. Then it will come out like this one, the one on the purple. And the one on the purple is not so bad, but the one on the pink one, see in the middle, it's like an eyesore. So if I were the homeowner, I cannot sleep, honestly, just looking at it. Okay, so another one is this. So this one is a metallic finish. So it also runs around the house. Okay, and this one as well. So we did several colors in one panel of glass. So this one also is another headache because the designer insists, I want 5 colors in one piece of glass. Okay, so how are you going to paint that all the same time? So one by one, same also as the bottom part. So this has notches. And this one also is my favorite. Not because it has color, no. You think, oh, ordinary color black glass. No, you take a look at the details. I mean, the miter edge was perfectly, aligned. There's no gaps whatsoever, and you can pass this as something as not glass. Really, it can be like a laminate, but it's glass. Same also for the one on the right. You think it's stone, but it's glass. So that's what I mean. So after my stint there, so after this project, I had to go. And I applied in a glass company that, oh, I thought that's it for glass, like stained glass, colored glass. But when I came here, it's like, what the? There are a lot of other types of glass that I haven't known when I was there. So it's like, oh, is this possible? Like, how can you do it? So this working here is an eye opener, and it's also an opportunity. Like, I don't intend to come to Singapore. Well, something came up and not forced, but okay. So I just took the opportunity. And as you can see, okay, another one asked me, there's another question that says, how are you going to install light ceiling features, glass features? Okay, so I need to know first what type of ceiling feature or ceiling accent. Is it something like, what do you call that? Lighting, like this one? Or is it going to be like flat glass that you're going to paste onto the ceiling? So what's the application? How is it going to be installed? Okay. But for this type of installation, right? The engineer, I always say, the engineer, the site engineer, the contractor is my best friend because you cannot achieve this on your own. This one has to be, what do you call that? A discussion. This has to be something that you have to work with at site. Okay, so anything that has to do with ceiling is very, very critical because number one, safety, law of gravity, anything that comes up must go down. So you have to be secure about how you properly, seal off this type of, not seal off, but how to properly install this type of application. So, okay, so the story of this project, when Resorts World Sentosa and MBS were starting, that's the time when I came here. And everybody was like crazy getting projects. Everybody was like crazy. Actually, it's more on the timeline. They want everything to be finished by this year, this date, like that. And all of the materials that I noticed were specified was from overseas, and at the same time budget. And during that time, there were only not so many contractors here that does this type of work, I mean, large scale work. So they have to bring in, dozens and dozens of overseas contractors. So for this particular project, they want something like, like a Chinese painting. So what's the best solution? You paint yourself. So lucky I got one guy who can do the painting. And this one is laminated as well. And the crystal fiber, the original spec is, if I'm not mistaken, is Swarovski. But Swarovski that time was very expensive, and at the same time they cannot meet the deadline. So they came to our company and they asked, "Can you do something like this?" And where more to source this material but to go to China? So these are all China materials. And it fits actually the theme because this one is a Chinese restaurant. So when I was joking about this one, okay, everything here is made in China. Anyway, it's a Chinese restaurant. So no questions, but the quality, as you can see, is I mean, it will pass your standard. Really. I mean, we made sure that when we do something, we make sure that this one is properly connected, properly edited. And this type of glass, I don't have the actual photo. Huh? We used glue, what do you call UV glue. So each petal is stuck onto the glass using UV light and UV glue. You know how meticulous that is? You cannot imagine. This one's, I'm not mistaken, like 500 pieces. Yeah. Okay, another project I did, this one is like in the sports world also. If you've been to that, if you've been to RWS, you'll see that there's a potion shop there where you can buy all this merchandise. So we did that particular glass. So this one is not real stained glass. This one is painted. Okay, and we use specifically paint that is for glass, and we call this one, if I'm not mistaken, creative resins. So this one also is one project that we are proud of because we exactly did as designed by the consultants. These are international consultants. They flew in from the US to do all these things. And one project that we did also is the fire good food. This one is real stained glass, triple glaze as well. And the artist, the one who's doing the assembly, he's also a stained glass artist. He's from Australia, and he came to Singapore to work here also. So Mr. Brown is one of my favorite guys because we talk about glass all the time, especially about stained glass. So this concept is actually by the designer already. So they have everything. We just have to do the actual assembly and the cutting. Another project that we did is W Hotel. So this one is okay. Somebody asked also about hospitality projects. So this is it. So what are the new innovations in glass? This one is digital printing, and digital printing combined with color back because the concept is using during that time 1920 I think it was 2012. Okay, June 2012. Wow. So we already are into this, theme of biophysical design, wherein we try to incorporate, twigs, trees into the design process. So this is and the designer for this one is DP Architects, and the concept is basically using I don't know how, and even the lighting. I don't have the copy of the light. I don't have the photo of the lighting. Even the lighting also depicts this type of effect, like twigs effect, and it's made of stainless steel. I wasn't able to take photo after the installation. This was really right after we installed. We took photo because after this one, you cannot go in the hotel already. One is using transparent glass, and the other one is using opaque glass. So these are two different types of glass in one room. Finished product. So this one is in between the bedroom and the living room, and the other one is between the bedroom and the toilet. So the toilet is very nice. It's like, wow, you can fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 to 5 people in the bathtub. So you can't imagine what happens in the presidential suite. Okay. Another one is the banyan tree spa. Okay, this is what I mean earlier, that these are inside. And the reason why I took photos of this, not because this is not glass. This is not glass, but I really like the feel of it. It's like when you enter a spa, what's the first thing you should feel? Relaxed, right? So I just want to share the photos. Okay, so we did all the shower room doors, every door. And the fun thing about this project, the original design is from Europe, and the source of the material also from Europe. And when I dig deeper, because for me, they always follow, say, okay, find first the original source, then if you can find substitute. So original source from Europe, I had to call what material, only to find out that the material is from Manila. Yeah, so you'll be surprised. The only thing is, during the process of getting this material, I managed to talk with the supplier, and she's a very nice person. I don't know whether you know Goldblum. Okay, so they do a lot of this abaca silk fiber, and they have this type of material. My only question is, can you produce, I think, 500, 200 to 300 meters square of this material in the span of 3 months? And that's the question that really shocked them, huh? And then they asked, why? Where is this material going to be used? And she was more shocked when I said, this one will be laminated between two pieces of glass. So I need to test first, because anything that has to do with what do you call an insert, anything that's alien to the glass processing, you must do testing, R&D. So when I went there, I asked, do you have a sample? We need to do testing, and I need to do some samples for approval. Okay, that's where the material failed, because of the rush work. She sent me a sample that wasn't fully dried, because this material is very organic, and it has to go a certain number of days or weeks or months to dry. So when it came to us, it was a bit damp. So we had issues with the lamination. So my problem that time, because I was handling this project, was that, oh no, I wanted to help, of course, definitely. I want to order from there, but how can I order if something like this will happen, and at the end of the day, I'm gonna get screwed? So no choice. I had to replace it with a material that's not organic. It's not plastic. It's not something that. It's something similar. It's still a. It's not a fiber, but a fabric. So no choice. I had to substitute. So imagine the dilemma that I had to go through. But the only thing that you have to do is like, do what's best for the company. At the end of the day, it's still the company is going to solve the problem. So that's what happened. So I just want to show you a few of the things that we did there. All the doors, very nice. Actually, the color is not nice here, but the actual one is not so yellowish. It's a bit beigey, but I don't know, probably because of the camera that I use. So anyway, another project. Okay, this one is another headache, but I'm sharing projects that is very, what do you call that? Not difficult, challenging. So during that time when there wasn't large scale digital printing, and there wasn't any artist who can do very vivid, high resolution images, we had to source everywhere. So for this particular brief, the client wants to, actually this one is a Michelin star restaurant, but now it's closed, so I can divulge the name and I can show you these drawings and plans because it's no longer there. So this one is for Sky Park, South Sky Park, this is also MBS. They want to enclose the walls, and they want partitions in transparent flower glass. So that's how the designer or the brief was. Say, you want transparent, okay, but this one is in color, so black and white. So yeah, so we had to go through a lot of discussions with the contractor and the consultant, because the consultant hired a graphic, what do you call it, a wayfinding or a graphic team specifically for this one, because they handle the graphic. The funny thing is they handle the graphic, but we had to source for the material. They cannot give us very high resolution because we demanded high resolution, and all the graphics will be coming from them, but they cannot provide. Some of the areas here requires curved glass. So another question with curved glass later, I'll show you. So that's the issue. So what was the solution? We have to cut in portions, or we cannot do whole glass that is round. So we have to do segments, and we have to come up with a design that can be transparent. So what are the materials we're using? We have to use UV printing, and since that time there wasn't any printer that can be, there wasn't any machine that can print directly onto glass. The only solution is getting a film which already has the printing on it. So this particular project is very expensive because we source the material from Australia, and the film was, made for lamination, so it can withstand heat. But the only thing is the graphic. They can print on the film, but they need the graphic. So this type of installation is very near, like if I'm not mistaken, less than 2 feet away. And this is a restaurant, so it will be very, very near patrons. So you cannot have a graphic that is pixelated. You cannot have a graphic that is like, blurred. So we had to hire someone to do all these things. So we had to hire a graphic designer. Well, I'm proud to say that he's also Pinoy, and he was a former colleague, and he now works with Pixar. So I still call him from time to time to ask about, how to do graphics, what are the solutions in having printing on glass, printing on, because honestly, I thought that when you print something, it's like photocopy, print, high resolution print. No, when you print for glass, it's different. When you print for film, it's different. When you print for like what do you call that, very large scale like tarps, it's also different. If you're going to view the artwork from far, you can use pixelated images and it works well. But if you're going to view an image from near, just as this one like I'm showing you right now, this one's the installation works. So we're installing the curb panel. It's very near. So this is very high resolution actually. And we have to buy the graphics from Getty's image. At the same time, it has to be enhanced to fit this size. So if you get this image is like, for example, a 1.5 by 1.5, I mean, very high resolution piece of glass. So imagine this one is more than 1.5. So we have to alter. Okay, so in terms of curved glass, okay, this is the answer to your question. Curved glass can be used depending on the application. Like for this one is a diffuse glass, laminated diffuse glass. So the lighting will be from behind. So the interlayer that we use is translucent. And at the same time, we use this in between the glass and the film. Okay. And how do you use it? How do you curve glass? Well, this type of glass was curved using a machine, not the slump method, because this one has to be accurate and this one has to be repeated twice because it's laminated. So there will be a slight difference in the radius of the glass when you laminate it with another. It cannot be the same. So it's very meticulous process. That's why it's expensive also. And this type of glass cannot be tempered. Yeah, so it can be laminated for safety. So as I mentioned earlier, this type of glass should be curved by right in the drawing, but it's not possible because no one in Asia can do curve like this size. So we had to do this in segments. So this is what they want. They want an image or they want photos of a flower and can see through. So we found a solution for the requirement because this has a very spectacular, that place has a very spectacular view. So they want everything to be see-through, even if they're dining, you look to the left, you can see the view, you look to the right, you can see the view, but it's a bit obscure because they still want privacy. So this screen can produce privacy, a bit of privacy, and at the same time, you can see the view. This one is nice during daytime, but during nighttime, it has a different effect also. So let's see whether I have the nighttime effect. I don't have the nighttime effect. I'm sorry. Okay, so another issue, another project that we did. This was for Tifa Hotel. This was for Team Suite. Same digital printing, but on soji paper. Why soji paper? Because the designer wants that feel of what they call it, the leaf pattern. Sorry, leaf pattern. Okay, so if I print this directly onto glass, it will be like flat. If I print this directly onto a interlayer, on a film, it will be flat. But if I print this on a paper that is soji, the effect is very nice. So this picture doesn't give justice to the actual work, but you can stay at the Team Suite if you want to take a view of it. So this is how it works. So I won't do the process anymore. I won't show you the process, but this is how we more or less take measurements. We make sure, okay, in designing this type of glass, right, or in this type of thing, this type of installation, you have to consider the gaps. When I say gaps, those are the frameworks. Because when you do printing and you don't consider that, you print directly, and then there's a gap in the middle, it won't align. So that's one thing you should consider in your design. Consider everything, especially in items, or sorry, in panels that has inserts or has metals in between. This is the actual installation, so you can see, right? I wasn't able to go there after everything, all the furniture has been installed, because we weren't allowed there anymore. Okay, another printing issue. Okay, where can you find a client who says, okay, I want my painting to be on my glass partition? Okay, what type of painting? This original painting. He wants something to be, I mean, he wants this particular painting to be on his living room partition. I say, okay, so, and it's a 3.3 by 4 meter height floor to ceiling installation. Nobody does that in Singapore. So we have to go to China to do it. And this is directly printing onto the glass. So imagine the works, imagine the logistics. Okay, so another printing project, but this one has different applications, not just one light, but this one is printed on several pieces of glass. Front, surface number 2, surface number 3, and before that, we had to apply gold leaf before lamination, and we had to do a bit of sandblasting. So this is what I mean when you do different techniques. Somebody also asked, what are the different techniques? Okay, in making your glass different, or making it beautiful, not just simple. This one is complex. But again, anything that's complex in terms of application, in terms of techniques, you need money. And at the same time, labor. It's labor intensive, and it's more or less like time consuming. So another thing is time. So again, if you have to consider designing something like this one, you have to consider the time, the budget, and at the same time, whether it can match your client's requirement. So far, we haven't really disappointed anybody in terms of this type of application. So these are the process that were involved, and this one is the actual finished product, as you can see. So it looks 3-dimension, right? So it's not something flat. That's what the client wants, and you can see from the image. And this image doesn't do justice also to the actual installation work. From different angles of the glass, when you go from one side to the other side, you can see that it's like, you know, different tones, different different, yeah. Okay, layers, correct, thank you. Okay, same as this one. So on the left side, you can see that this one is like a digital, it's not a digital printing glass, but we need to do digital enhancement onto the film for cutting. This one requires sandblasting, and we'll sandblast it onto reflective glass. So you can see the flowers, right? So these are sandblasted, laminated. I mentioned earlier, anything that's laminated becomes transparent, and behind it, we applied a color back paint, red. So this one comes in red and in green for the female toilet and male toilet located at a mall. And on the left side was another installation work using industrial mesh glass. So imagine your toilet like that. So this one is a gallery hotel. No, sorry, warehouse hotel in Singapore. So funny, but if you want privacy, there is like a automatic blind. So you press the button, the blinds will go down from that side. Okay, so okay, those who ask questions about the different types of glass, what are different applications? This is something you can listen to. Wake up, everybody. Okay, I'll go fast. Product range, different types of glass. We have basic series. Basic series includes clear, low iron, tinted, and anti-reflective. What is anti-reflective? No reflection whatsoever. Very dangerous if you use it for doors. I don't recommend that for doors, not unless you're going to put graphics. Okay, why? Because you're going to pass through the glass and you might get injured. The only glass company that, the only company that uses anti-reflective glass for doors are Bulgari, Hermes, and Tiffany. For reasons you know, because they want they want you to see clearly from outside to inside. But they have what you call it, protective doors, protective handles, so you know that that's a door. Okay, basic series. Let's go through one by one. Okay, And then application for the base series, this one for mirror, you can use color back and at the same time sandblasting. Heat strengthened glass, fully tempered glass. I think anybody wants to discuss this. Heat strengthened is different from fully tempered, okay? Heat strengthened glass is that it's still safety glass, but this one is when it breaks, it's still sturdy compared to normal glass. This one, when it breaks, will break into bigger pieces, but it doesn't really mean that you can break it easily. It will stay in place, but you need time to go away. Fully tempered glass is when you fully temper the glass into temperatures higher than 1000 degrees, and at the same time it goes through the cooling process from heat to cooling at a very fast stage, making it fully tempered. The only difference for this one from this one and the heat strengthened glass is that when it breaks in smaller pieces. Okay, so this one you use for items that is below 3 meters high. Okay, so there is a standard in Singapore. BCA standard is for heights below 3 meters, 3 to 4 meters, you use tempered glass. Above that, you use heat strengthened. Okay, heat strengthened laminated for safety. Okay, heat soak. What is heat soak? Okay, heat soak glass is heat soak test is basically testing the glass for what we call a spontaneous breakage. Or what is spontaneous breakage? Spontaneous breakage is that, there will be like breakage that you didn't expect will happen. And this one is like more like, you will be surprised, like this one break, the other one break. We call that spontaneous breakage. And why does that happen during tempering? Because of this nickel sulfide. What is nickel sulfide? Okay, nickel sulfide is the impurity embedded into the glass during the process of making glass. Now, why do you need heat soak? If you're making, for example, 100 pieces of glass, tempered, okay, we're talking about tempered glass. So you want to know whether 10% of this glass will break spontaneously or not. So if the breakage is 10% below, it's safe. If it surpasses 20% breakage, that particular 100 pieces of glass you can throw away because you will have a problem in the future. In terms of laminated glass, okay, we can laminate this size, 3.3 meters by 8 meters, and we can do different types of lamination. So these are different types of lamination process that we can do. Low E, so we can laminate low E glass with another piece of glass. Tinted glass, we can laminate tinted glass with another piece of tinted glass, or tinted glass with low E glass. Solar control glass, that is the low E glass compared with another piece of glass. Pattern glass, digital ceramic. So all these things are the type of glass that we can laminate. When you say C4, right? C4 is a mesh. That is the brand of the mesh that we use. PDLC is switchable glass, and mesh fabric, this one are, we also have an Italian brand, Sintarchi. This one also very high quality and very good mesh product. And fabric, when I say fabric, we don't have a specific fabric because we don't want to stock fabrics. Okay, so examples. Okay, we go through the examples now. This one is colored glass laminated using Venciva. This one is an example of what we did using that particular process. Mesh. So we use fabric mesh and we use the bigger type of mesh, industrial mesh, we call that. Okay, so our industrial type of mesh we can color. We have our own what do you call that? And titanium coating process in the factory. So we can coat according to this type of colors. And the different types of mesh also on the right side, we can do that. Example, we use this for railings. We use this for glass partitions. You can see. And insulated glass. Okay, insulated glass also known as PGUs. PGUs, double glazing, can be triple glazing. And it can be filled with argon glass. And it can be specific. It can, how do you call that? We can change the color of your spacer. So spacer is the one that, that's in the middle of the glass, that, between two pieces of glass. So this one, more or less is your that controls the heat that goes inside. Yeah, it's the vacuum. So we can do heat strengthened, tempered, laminated, digital. We can do anything with DGUs, and we have special products that uses DGUs. This one, so we can use a very thick mesh, and we can use louvers as well. So this is very common in our Japanese market. They like a lot of this one, laminated, DGUs with wood inserts. Yeah. And honeycomb. So we have this type of material called it's not plastic, but it's very high resistant to heat. And we have two types. So this one also is very useful also for decorative purposes. So another one also, and I think one of the questions of what are the other types of glass products that you can use for interior. This is one of them, and it's laminated, and it is also DGU. So meaning it's very what do you call that, useful for hot climates. Smart glass. Someone also asked about smart glass. Okay, so smart glass is using PDLC, and it is what you call switchable glass. There are several types of switchable glass in the market, and we can do the dimmer, we can do the on and off, we can do like gradient, we can do dimmer, and we can apply digital printing in between your PDLC film and your glass so that you can have that, you know, that designer look. A few projects that we did is this one. This one is for Crown Plaza in Changi Airport. So most of the rooms are like this one because they want to bring in light and at the same time privacy as well. So this is an example of how it works. I don't know if you can see that. So press the button. You can slowly turn from light to dark, from on to off. Yeah, and then you can press the button for automatic switch on. And we have a dimmer also. So somebody asked, what projects or where can you use this? Okay, here you go. So this one is a project that we did for OUE. Okay, so this is a mall and at the same time a gallery. So they want to use it for their display area during nighttime. Daytime, they want the light to come in to save electricity, and at the same time, you know, for people to see what's inside. But during the nighttime when it's dark, they turn off the power and it becomes opaque, and you can what do you call that, project images on it. Okay, so we have two types of digital printing. One is the ceramic. Okay, ceramic is infused is printed onto the glass and infused during the tempering process. So all our digital ceramic printed glass are tempered by nature, and our print resolution comes up to 720 dpi. Saying, why so small, 720 dpi? Because digital printing is used mostly for facades, and it is viewed from far. So it can still be high resolution from far, but having that same effect as well. Okay, so we can print anything. This one example for MRT, we use digital ceramic for the enclosure. Luxury boutiques also. So this one is for Burberry in China. Yeah, we use digital ceramic because this one is an exterior project, same as Michael Kors. Okay, luxury boutique. This one we use also ceramic combined with mirrors and tempered glass, heat strengthened glass. And as you know, all Victoria's Secret show front are more or less like three-dimensional because it's not just one piece of glass. So there is always a gap in between glass, and at the same time you use lighting for that effect. This one is another Victoria's Secret boutique in the Mandarin Gallery. So this one also requires digital printing, and at the same time we use also PVB. So they want the pink color in between. Yeah. And another one also, we use also digital printing for industrial buildings. So this one is our building on the right side. This is a factory office. And on the left side is also a factory in Malaysia. And digital printing also can be used for marine projects, marine vessels, transportation. So the marine industry also requires digital printing for the edges of the glass. So you cannot see the adhesion or the material used. Okay. DG UV. UV uses light. to print. And this one is we can do 2,400 dpi. Why? Because digital printing using UV is used for near applications like partitions, like windows. So it's very near the client or the owner, and you want to see through. So the difference between digital printing using ceramic and digital printing using UV is that mostly digital UV is transparent. Okay, so this one uses this Victoria's Secret uses UV. Sorry, this UV, correct. DGUV. Okay, so comparison in printing, you can see the difference. So digital printing is one of the innovations that I can say is very timely. Okay. Laser engraved glass. Okay, when you say laser engraving, it's basically doing very small details. We try to shy away from sandblasting because of the labor involved in doing cutting, stencil. This one also involves digital printing or digital graphics. So to answer the question of what are the innovations now in glass industry, everything now is digital. Yeah. And automated in the sense that we don't use much people in terms of carrying glass, in the factory. Satin freely, okay. During the time when acid etch was still very in the market, it caused a lot of issues in terms of like disposing the chemical, health issues. So last time we can do this in our factory. We had acid etch bat. We call it a bat because the glass is like submerged into acid. But due to the government's constraint and issues, we had to like shut it down. But we had to find a way like to cater to the market wherein this particular glass is also very in demand for privacy. So I had two options. So we found a way also. This one is one, but I don't recommend this one for high volume where people like passing, touching and everything, because this one can be scratched as this is printing. Okay, so another option is using digitally etched glass. So digitally etched glass is more or less like printing, having the same effect of acid etch, but acid etch, as we all know, and sandblasting, when it gets wet, it becomes transparent. When you use digitally printed etched glass, even if it gets wet, it won't turn transparent. It will maintain that frosted look. But again, cost implications. So these are the samples, so you can apply this type of color or this type of satin on any type of glass. Patent glass, I think you're familiar with patent glass. I think there are a few glass companies here that offer patent glass in Manila. But what we're trying to offer right now is all low iron glass. Low iron patent glass, meaning there's no tint of green. But we still have stocks of this one, of the regular one. So why low iron? Because it brings out the pattern well, and at the same time you can match it with color. It brings out the color, and it's more vivid. Yeah, and some of the pattern glass that we have, we can temper. Other companies don't want to temper pattern glass. Why? Because of the high chances of breakage. Okay, color back. I think you're familiar with this one. No need to discuss. Security glass. Okay, someone asked, what do you recommend for windy areas? Okay, this is the one. I call it security glass because basically it's more on security, but there is a certain category, like this one is burglar resistant. This one has a certain P something, and the impact resistance. So the impact resistance goes well with windy climates. Now my question, my question always is like, what is the application? Is it for a window? Is it going to be like small piece of window? Is it going to be a floor to ceiling window? Is it going to be what do you call that? A panel? You have to consider a lot of things before we can really specify, but we can come up with a solution for all these inquiries or all these issues. Okay, acoustic glass. Okay, acoustic glass nowadays also is very, very, very in demand because everybody's working from home, and now offices also is requiring creating cubicles for individual cubicles for for their offices, and also meeting rooms now are requiring acoustics. Yeah, so we have that also. Curved glass. Okay, so another question from the audience. Yeah, we can do curved glass, but there are certain limitations to the curvature or radius. And at the same time, we cannot temper curved glass. We can only laminate it for safety. What are the applications? Here you go. You can use this one for display cabinets like this one. All right. And another one, like for this particular project that I have in Macau, this one will be used for railings. So we can curve pattern glass, and we can also curve laminated mesh. So anything with mesh, we can laminate inside also and curve at the same time. And another application is this one, display. Okay, so I hope that answers the question. And earlier also, when I showed you my installation at MBS, Dalma also is a curved glass. So there are certain limitations to the size, but I think we can nowadays we can do bigger curves. Okay, Fire X glass. What is Fire X glass? Fire rated glass. Okay, I don't know whether you heard about this one, but this now is a requirement for any establishment being built, and because of fire hazard safety purposes. So this is a very, very interesting product because we all know that, and it's very thick. So for me, when I first saw this type of glass, like I was also amazed at how it works. You think it's just plain piece of glass, like, and okay, you usually find this type of glass in like lift basements, and so anywhere where you need to escape. And the reason why there is like 60 and 120, these are the number of minutes. So in 1 hour, you must these are placed in this area so that you have time like at least 1 hour to escape. So it takes like a few minutes only to escape, but for us, this was very important. And then how it works is that there is a gel in between two pieces of glass. So depending on the number of hours that is required, the glass becomes thicker. And at the same time, depending also on the specification by the consultant, it can be in different thickness of glass. But in our case, we only have 120 and 160, 1 hour and 2 hour fire rating. And at the same time, we certified for digital printing incorporated into the glass so that it won't be that boring. Because as compared to other companies or other glass suppliers, they can only do clear. And there's no privacy. And there's no direction. Like now you can incorporate direction printed directly onto the glass. So this is how the magic begins. Okay. So knowing all the process, knowing all the materials that you have, you can play around, customize, you can combine. That's where, or that's when you come up with a product, or what we call that, your own concept design based on what we can do. So other companies, like for us, we have all the machineries. We can do tempering, we can do bending, we can do lamination. So it's up to you guys to come up with something that can utilize all this processing. It's like, I call not myself, but I call this like being a chef glass maker. Like, it's like you're a chef with all these ingredients, all the instruments, and then you just have to come up with a dish. So it's like the same concept as doing your design. So how do you achieve that? First, you have to find someone that has all this machinery, all this, or you call it fabricator, you call it processor that has all this material. Then you know that, oh, these are the capabilities that they have. They can do this. But some companies, of course, don't have that capability, so they're limited to what they can do only for you. And some companies, they only supply, they don't do processing. So whatever they have, okay, take it as it is. Another thing, okay, another highlight of this presentation is performance series for the architects out there. Okay, so performance series is the type of glass that you use for exterior or architectural, because these are now required for they call that certain certifications. So available, the one that we have right now is like, we have hard coat low E, high performance single, double, triple low E. Okay, when I say single, double, triple, these are triple silver. And depending on the brand that you use, triple, silver, low E, which is also what do you call that? Clear or low iron, meaning extra clear, is the most expensive. Why? Because you let the light in, at the same time you control the heat that goes in. And there's one building that has that, and that is Lucasfilm building. I know the crawler, something Skywalker or Skycrawler, in one area in Queenstown, that has all this type of glass, because that's what they want. They want very visible light, but they want to control the heat that goes in. So it really depends on the client and more or less the specifications that you want. For us, we can only combine. We can only like, okay, I want, importantly, so you know what you want. First, I want the SE value of this. I want a U value of this. Okay, what? And then I don't want extra clear. I want color. I want privacy. So these are the considerations that you have to feed us for us to come up with a solution for you guys. So if you ask me what is the best solution for your requirement, first you have to know what is the requirement. Then I can help you to achieve your requirement. Okay. And yeah, as you can see in the advantages, it improves thermal performance. And you can consider two climates. One is for the cold weather, which is probably Baguio. And the other one is the hottest, which is everywhere. Yeah, so, okay, let's do a bit of project samples. Okay, so mixed development, you can use this in mixed development. As you can see, we use different types of glass from different suppliers. And mind you, all the suppliers that we have are very high quality ones. So one is Guardian, one is Vitro, and the other one is AGC. And we also have other glass suppliers for clients that say they don't have budget, but we want to use quality glass. Okay, we can find, or we have something also similar to that, but it's not branded, but the quality is the same. Why? Because they are also the ones who make or produce or manufacture this type of glass for those branded ones. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so okay, mixed development, another mixed development. This one is Marina one. Okay, this Marina one, I can say you can also go here, even if you're not a resident. They are more than happy for you to like walk inside, because this one also has a very what they call a green rating. It has indoor plant, indoor indoor environment actually, that people can walk in, and they encourage people to walk in. Yeah. Okay. It's my commercial buildings. We also do commercial in Malaysia, commercial buildings in Malaysia. Okay. And other countries as well. So commercial buildings, institution for kids, you know, for schools, yeah. And industrial buildings, we also do transport, MRTs. And that's it, folks. Whew. Okay, I'll stop sharing my.
Wow.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
great. Thank you, Miss Jo. It's a very, I remember when we had our first meeting, you said that glass is a very expansive topic in itself, and 2 hours will never be enough for all of us to learn. Anyway, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your experience to us and your inspirations. I'm sure our students and our faculty members appreciate it a lot. Before we proceed with our Q&A, I would like to request everyone to open their cameras. For documentation purposes, we need to take a class photo. So
Group picture.
please,
Group
yeah,
picture.
please, if you are decent, please open your open your cameras
I'm
for
not.
class photo.
Guys, if you want a part two, you can request from Miss Cat.
Oh yeah, definitely with the samples, the live samples.
I haven't, okay, guys, I haven't discussed art class. I haven't discussed sculptures. I haven't discussed architectural.
Yeah,
So
that's
these are
just
all
only a
interior.
portion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
Okay.
tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right.
Cheers.
Again, if you guys didn't hear me, please open your cameras so we can take a class photo. All right. It's nice to see former students. I'm so happy seeing familiar faces. It's been a long time. How are you guys? All right. Okay. So I'll take the first one. One, two, three. All right. For a while.
Wacky, wacky.
Okay. What? All
Several
right.
pages.
Another one. I'll be taking the second one. All right. One, two, three. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, guys. If you guys have classes, you can leave because this is recorded and we can upload the recorded Q&A session. But if you guys have time, please, we appreciate you staying. And if you have additional questions that you're really curious about, don't be shy. This is the right
Type it up.
time to ask because we know that it's not always discussed in class. So we'll do our very best to Miss Jo will do her very best to answer answer your
Pressure,
questions.
pressure.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll bring back the floor to your beautiful host and take
All
it
right.
away for the Q&A. Oh, rhyme.
All right.
Um, so
Okay.
for the Q&A, we have questions here, which we'll try to, ano na lang siguro, we'll try to ask the ones that haven't, that Miss Jo have
Yeah,
asked.
that haven't been answered by Miss
Yeah,
Jo.
I tried my best to answer everything in one go.
Yeah,
It's okay. It's okay.
we noticed that.
Okay.
So, could the Miss Han and then Miss Ira, could you help me find the ones that aren't the
Yeah. Uh-huh.
so
Um,
I think Miss Jo already answered. Although if you have things to add, Miss Jo, yung recent developments in the glass industry,
Okay,
so
yeah.
recent
new
development. Yeah,
technologies and techniques, I think you've kind of
yeah.
more or less said things already, a lot of things already.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I guess the question about what is the most exciting glass trend or development, siguro that's kind of
Okay, right now everything, as I mentioned, everything is digital. So if you can create something using digital images like that, we can print, and at the same time we can use laser, we can laminate, and we can use digital DGUs. So for me, it's more on like if you use it for facade, that's the best because you can see the artwork already being what do you call that, installed. And then another thing in terms of interior, okay, nowadays going back to those old times that I mentioned earlier, right? One exciting project that we did, and it's in demand, and everybody's asking that we cannot do this aglomise. Anybody heard about that aglomise?
nah, not
No, no, not yet.
Okay, it's gilding. It's basically applying.
Ah,
It's basically but gilding. You use it for like walls. You use it for like fixtures.
mm-hmm.
We had a inquiry. Actually, we did one project before at Raffles Hotel, and they require like digital printing combined with gold leaf. No, platinum leaf. So just imagine that when that one came out, when everybody saw that, then there are more inquiries coming. Okay, how can you do this? How can you do that? Can you do this on wall? Okay, but the problem is this particular artwork is trademarked with one designer. She's the one, she flew in. She flew in
Oh,
from the
wow.
States. We had to flew her in, yeah, because it's trademarked. And although we want to do it, but we did, we did the printing, okay, but the laying of the actual gold leaf was her. And it was her idea and the designer definitely. Because, okay, to be honest with you guys, as designers, you have the power to say no to substitute. You have the power to say no. I don't want anything less than what I have specified.
Yeah.
And no, if you don't have the budget, I will change, but I will choose. You know, so that particular designer, Adas, they're known for that. I want this glass. I want this supplier. I want her to do it because it adds value to my artwork. It adds value to the place. Because this particular artist designer is the one who handcrafted, so her how to say, signature is already there. So imagine if everybody, or she was there in the opening night together with boss. So it's like it was a, I mean, who says you cannot collaborate, right? She doesn't have the printing. She doesn't know how to because the design is more or less, let me say your part, but I want this design onto your glass, onto the glass, but I want gold leaf. How will you do that? You cannot do that on your own. So collaboration, right? And
Yeah.
then someone also, yeah, I want to emphasize also this installation work. Okay, for me, anything that has to do with installation, the contractor, the engineer is my best friend as a supplier. Really,
Yeah.
because even though they're not the ones who pay us directly, it's those who order from us, right? But we have to coordinate with them in order for my thing to be perfectly installed. Because if you don't have that camaraderie, that connection, that you know, if something happens, that's your glass. Because at the end of the day, we are the ones who are always the last part. Yeah. And I also attach like a link, okay, because I don't know what type of glass that will be used on the ceiling, but I know of two particular company that, wow, does a lot of magnificent glass works in terms of ceiling application. And these are crystals and at the same time blown glass. And they are also very, how to say, uh, known in the market here. And they literally graced a lot of very high-end establishment, hospitality, hotels, even what do you call that? What do you call it? Casinos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you check the link, one is Last Bit. They did a very intricate dragon glass installation in a Macau casino. So you can take a look at that. So again, we have to work with glass. With contractors for this type of
Miss Jo,
installation. Yeah.
follow up on just a follow up on what do you call this? Your answer about the glass ceiling. We have a question here asking if you would be able to um, advise or specify any type of glass that could be used in the ceiling here in the Philippines, because of course it's more advanced outside. But in here, would you be able to have any recommendations as to what type of glass can we use? Blown glass here as well, and or recycled glass? Yeah.
Okay.
Or like just there's specific types of glasses that should just be used here in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Okay. The application, will this be hanging? Will this be pasted onto the ceiling? Will this be like mounted? What's the application? Will it be a diffuser or something
They
like an artwork? Artwork. Is it an artwork?
The question is for skylights specifically, or maybe
Ah,
something of a, or maybe something that you'd use at the center as a centerpiece in a mall, like an
And
activity
like,
area or a
okay.
museum. Yeah.
Okay. I think for that type, anything, we did a few installations for that. One is at the National Museum and yeah, here in Singapore. In Manila, I think you have a lot of work with a few glazers there.
Glazed glass.
Glazing
Yeah.
companies.
Yeah.
What's her name? I never from still Lisa. The other one is Sedorada. The other one is I mean, yeah. Okay, in terms of skylights, right? Number one, when we do skylights, it's always laminated safety, and it's always DGUs or insulated. Insulated meaning because it has to be like, it has to have a low E glass in front so that when the light shines, and at the same time you have to like preserve the heat. I not heat, the cold, sorry, because it's air conditioned, so you don't want you don't want the cold to come out, right? So it's like that. So okay, for skylights, depending on your application, will this be for residences? Will this be for a mall? Or will this be for like, I need to know all these things first. Yeah. And then in terms of application, it has to be framed on all sides. No ifs, no buts, all sides. It has to sit on something. It cannot be frameless.
Yeah.
All right. And at the
Mhm.
same
Yes.
time, it has a certain size. You cannot go all the way because never will you find a ceiling that is one hole. It has to have
Joy.
cutting.
For framing.
Yes, joints. Yeah. So that's how you
All
do it.
right. So I think
I did include the sample, but I have slides, I have pictures. Next time.
part two.
Part two. No, I can send you the link. So all the questions here, I can send you the link more or less. I can show you some photos eventually. We can reply them offline. Offline now.
Okay, so I think we have a couple more questions. So there's one question here that says, how are curved glasses made and made for interior application? I think you've started to
Yeah.
Yeah, she
get an
delved on
introduction
this
of
a
how,
bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, just a bit. And what are
Okay.
the advantages and disadvantages of using this?
Okay, for curved glass, if you're going to use it for like a diffuser, or if you're going to use it for like a part, like I say like for us, right? The project that I am encountering right now, they're going to use it for a interior, what do you call that, railing. So they want the
Yes,
corners
yes.
to be curved. So
Mhm.
that's one application, and it has to be laminated. How is it made? Okay, we use our own machine. We have a machine that has the mold. Now we have our own curvature, and at the same time, we have to do it after it is clean and after it has been cut. So there is already a specific mold for your size, and each size we have a certain limitations. So the minimum that we can do in terms of like curvature radius is around 800. So more than smaller than that we cannot do. Yeah. So how is it made? Two. One is using machine, and the other one, if it's just a small piece, you want decorative, then we can use slump. Slump meaning
Yeah.
you just need an oven, a small oven. And where do you use that? You use it for platters, and you use it for what do you call that? Like curved vase, something like that, or like
Yeah.
cones. Yeah.
Mhm.
So advantages and disadvantages. Okay. Advantages of using laminated, you have safety feature, and then you can play around with the interlayers, the one that you put inside. So as I showed you earlier, you can use printing, you can use translucent interlayer, color interlayer, like that. You can use mesh, and you can use pattern glass also. So there are a lot of uses, and depending on your application, if you want safety, then it has to be laminated. If it's going to be like a small piece for like a scone or lighting, then you just have to use the slump one. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Miss
Okay.
Joe, follow-up question about the glass. What if the curved glass is used as a partition, provided that it's following the necessary or standard height for curved glass? Will the structural integrity be affected depending on the curve?
No, we will follow actually the structure because
Okay.
because in order for us to get that curvature, you have to have the frame prepared ahead of time. Then we
Yeah.
will get the template. I mean, they will get the template. They will give us the dimension, and this is digitally done using AutoCAD. So
Mm.
if you use AutoCAD for this type, because our machine uses AutoCAD, then it is programmable according to the pages and according to the
Okay.
size. If you use, say, pattern, there's a tendency for you to move a bit. So everything nowadays is done
Yeah.
Mhm.
Digital.
Yeah.
automated.
Yeah.
So that's one of the industries here. Everything
Miss,
is try to do automation
you
and
mentioned a
digital.
while ago, just a follow-up question to curved glass. You mentioned a while ago that curved glass could not be laminated. Was that
Tempered. Cannot be
tempered?
tempered. Yes.
Not be tempered. So meaning, for example, if the project requires, and I'm not sure if I already saw like a project like this, that has like, if for example, like aquarium spaces, like tanks of aquariums for
Yes. Yung tunnel types. Yeah, the
yeah,
tunnel types for aquariums.
they usually use parang mga curved glass, especially in Manila, the one that has
Ocean Park.
Ocean Park.
That
Yeah.
one is not curved glass, but very, very high, what they call that, it's like a polycarbonate. It's plexiglass.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
because you cannot curve the glass according to that size, and at the same time, even in here in Singapore, in Marina Bay Sands, there's this one you call the tunnel,
Yeah,
right? It's
Yeah.
this thick. It's this thick. It's
exactly.
plastic. It's
Oh,
plastic.
plastic. So it is.
Acrylic. And acrylic, but poly something. Yeah, it's a
Alright,
very, very high quality plastic that is
it's like
used for aquariums, and it is
Okay.
also used for this type
polycystic,
of
but
kind of,
it most
yeah.
probably is solid polycarbonate.
Solid polycarbonate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they use that one, and it's very good. And we don't recommend glass for this type. For
Oh,
aquarium, we
okay.
don't recommend it.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
Uh,
I guess we could include this phone in phone in question. This it's
can
actually chat. Can we
yeah,
use wired glass? Can wired glass be used for curved glass?
That's
yes,
from Miss Ethel.
yeah. Hi, Eto. Yes, yes, it can be curved.
Right, later.
I mean, my side we can curve. I don't know others. I can only speak for my company, but
Bring
yes,
in
it can be
DDG in
curved.
Manila.
Yes. One of these days, yeah, we're trying to source someone to work with. Okay, that's like I spilled the beans already. Yeah, we're trying to find someone to work with eventually there, because we have projects specified by a few interior designers here, and it's ongoing, and we don't know how to monitor. That's the problem.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think we have a couple more questions. One of the question is that how can we make glass look and feel more exciting and new? And at the same time, how can we make sure that there's more to glass than just a mere interior finish? And like the ones that you've shown us in your presentation. And
Okay.
how can we make glass work as a functional and aesthetic, of course, pleasing element of a space?
Okay. In terms of that one, to add value, right? I mentioned earlier that you can add gold leaf. That one
Yeah,
really adds
yeah.
value. Okay. You can add digital printing. You can make it like into a double glass, meaning one glass and another glass. And like, okay, you notice that most of the shop fronts or show, or I don't know how you call it there, but the shop fronts of high-end luxury boutiques, right?
Yeah.
They
Show
do
windows.
show
Your
windows.
show.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Or showcase. Yeah. They always do different types of layerings. Someone mentioned layerings earlier. I heard that. Layerings. So this one will add value. Again, it depends on your application. Where are you going to use it? If you're going to use it for your projects, for commercial projects, yes, you can do that. You can add value. You can add not just value, but you can add, how you say, if you use your own design, and then someone can incorporate it in your project, like the two designers that I mentioned, Tiffany and Wright. Yeah, then it will be like, wow, your own masterpiece. You can therefore say, my design, my work, mine. Diba? So
Yeah.
that's how you add value. And again, I will mention, if you don't give in to the owners and suppliers who will substitute your material. Diba? And they say, oh, ano naman, let's change the material because I cannot afford. Okay, do you want to compromise quality over economy? If yes, then okay, then I don't want to, I mean, for me, because I had these issues also before, then I don't want to have anything to do with your thing, something like that. But you can compromise. For me, it's all everything's compromise. You just have to find the right supplier, and at the same time, get what they want. So
As
for me, that's how you add
as a,
value.
okay, as a little follow-up on that, have you ever, like, based on your experience, have you ever rejected any type of design, like for interior designers? Like, at what
Yes.
point did you say to them, I'm sorry, we can't do this?
One thing, they want me to copy some other people's work,
Okay,
which is
that's given.
unethical. I mean, if you're talking about, like what I mentioned earlier, if you're talking about someone's intellectual property, someone designed this one. This is her idea, right? And you want me to copy? No, I can come up with my own, but I don't want you to copy this one. Something like that. And in fairness also to that person, like, what if I were that person? No, I mean, it
Yeah.
happens. I'll be honest with you guys. It happens. Like
Okay.
you will be surprised. Like I work so hard with designers, right? And
Yeah.
then the design is approved. I specifically made this sample for you guys. And then goes to the contractor. This a contractor,
Yeah.
syempre, they want to earn. So what will they do? They will more or less go to other sources. Oh, can you copy this? Can you copy this? Can you copy that? I mean, don't use the word copy. Okay, just can you find something similar to this, or can you do better than this, or can but
Yeah.
don't copy, because I have rejected clients like, oh, you want me to copy? Sorry, I cannot do that. You talk to my boss lah. I won't do that.
But in terms of
Mm.
like anything, even if it's an original, have you ever rejected something?
No, no,
Oh,
Wow.
interesting.
no, because
Very
I try to
this job.
find solutions. If I
Right.
Mm,
really die cannot find, then I collaborate with other
Yeah.
people. I like, for example, the other day, okay, just an example. Okay, we had problems with our supply in Malaysia because of the MCO. So they need
mhm,
this type of glass. And
mhm.
then so we had a meeting say, Joanna, do you know anybody in Singapore? Because I need this type of glass. We must supply, we must fabricate. The deadline is this month, like that. No
Mhm.
choice. I had to call someone. And I had to like, oh, I know this guy. Okay, let me try. So I had to call. And he's the boss of this company, which I know a long time ago. So you see, in any industry, don't burn bridges. And at the end of the day, business is still business. Don't
Yeah.
take it personally. So I had to say, Mr. Gan, I need this glass. Do you have like that, like that? Then
Mhm.
that's when, oh, what happened to you? Where are you? And that's when after that, then we talk about other things already. So it's like that. So that's what I mean. So if I cannot find a solution, I dial a friend, you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
And if really, really cannot, dito kasi, you say, cannot, di pwede, cannot. If really cannot, then you have to be honest with the client. Sir, ma'am, sir, sorry, cannot. Pwede other option. I give you option 1, option 2, option 3, can. Ganun, like, I mean, that's how I do. That's why, okay, for me, in terms of like working with designers or clients, when I shift to another company, they will follow me. Like,
Oh,
all right, my clients from this company, when they know that I'm no longer there, and they know they're in this company, they will look for me here.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, and then when I say that hindi ko kaya, or I cannot do this because this one is not within our scope, then I told them, okay, you go back to my previous company, you talk to this person, because
Yeah.
you you cannot be selfish, or you cannot be
Yeah.
I don't want them, or you people you have no, I don't have bad connections or bad things with you know what I mean. You cannot do that in this industry because it's a small industry. People will know you, and people can ban you. So aside from nauso na yung unfriend, no, people can unfriend you in business and in FB also. So it's something that you have to like consider. And then at our age, come on, who wants to like have enemies, diba? And
Yeah.
you don't want to stress yourself out, please. That's one thing. You don't need to stress yourself out. If you cannot do it, just be honest. Honesty is always the best policy. Correct? Anybody agree to
Correct.
True.
I couldn't
That's what
agree
you were
more.
mentioning, you mentioned a while ago na parang there's somebody who parang made an intellectual IPR for gold leafing with glass.
Yes.
Yeah, so meaning if we, for example, had a project na not similar, I mean, but using gold leafing and glass, so we could not do that. We'd
You
have to import.
can.
We
No,
can.
no, because the reason why we had to do is because this one was specified by the consultant, and this is Raffles Hotel, so they have
Oh,
they have what you call that. Ito lang pwede because Raffles Hotel tayo eh. Ayoko China.
Okay.
Okay, sorry,
Okay.
I'm speaking in Tagalog because the designer is Filipino also, and they are from ADAS. Okay, so
Oh,
ADAS is the
yeah,
consultant.
yeah.
Client is Raffles. And I like her because I don't want to change. I don't want to change specs. Ito, there were times when I said, sige na, you try naman my product. I don't have to copy, but this one is an option. Sige, sige, option. Pwede ka option. Oo. Miski sa trabaho, pwede kang option. Okay. But what I mean is, in terms of like design, I try to respect the designer because at the end of the day, sino tatawagan? Ito, okay to kasi hindi to nag-change. Pag sinabi ko, sinabi ko. So your word is her word. And there is what you call that trust. And even if she doesn't get from me, even if it's not my product and she knows that I cannot do it, it's okay. Yeah, but there will be other opportunities. That's the thing. Because you don't burn bridges, there will be other opportunities. So, yeah. So for this particular Miss Reg, no choice eh. Although gusto namin gawin talaga lahat, we want to do everything, which we can do. Yeah, we can do, but in respect to the designer and in respect to the establishment itself, then we have to work together. So
Yeah.
it was a very happy outcome because during the opening night, everybody was there. I'll try to find that particular sample. I remember I had a sample of that one, and I'll try to find also the artist so that the face with the word. Because for me, I'm like that. Oh, this one is designed by this one. Oh, she's like that, or he's like that, like that. Because for me, it's like when you are proud of someone's work, then malay mo one day they will be proud of you, di ba? On there's connection, and your network will grow. And in this industry, it's a network, di ba? You cannot see each other face to face. Might as well like network online, di ba?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for that very nice information.
Cheers.
Okay, so I think Miss Reg, you have another question? Probably?
Okay. So another question here is based on your experiences, what are the possible challenges or limitations you can face from using glass to create art?
Hi, ang dami ko sinabi dyan. I wrote something here. What my answer was, where are my answers? Wait, huh? Okay, that's question number 8, right? My limitations. Number 1, budget. Okay, so we have to work with the client's budget because they are your paymasters. So you have to work on that. So that's one of the limitations. Like I want to give you something better, but of course I cannot, I cannot go below my profit margin. That's why there's a margin, diba? That's one. Source of materials, as what I have discussed earlier, right? I want to source from Manila, from the original supplier, but they cannot provide because the product doesn't work with mine. So that's one of the limitations, and I feel bad because I've talked with them, they prepared all the sample. I feel bad. So instead, I bought another product from them lah. So, but it's okay. Another one is machinery. Okay, when I say machinery, oh, I only have this machine. I cannot do that one. What machine is that that I wish I had in our factory is kiln form machine. It's like a machine that does kiln form glass. And that one is one of the most, well, let's say it is a niche market, and the glass itself is very, very nice when you use it for facade. And who uses this type of glass? LV, Tiffany, Fendi, all these companies. And nowadays, they are being introduced in like bar counters. They're being introduced in tabletops, and they can use very thick glass, very thick, 19 mm, and they can temper at the same time. So wow, if I have this machine, wow, diba? But that's what I mean. So limited. And then another one, skilled worker. Skilled worker.
This is always the case here. Yeah.
Very rare.
Yeah. And nowadays, like nobody wants to go. I mean, okay, honestly, no one wants to get their hands dirty.
Yeah.
Okay, I say that based on experience because I experienced cutting glass, and I experienced being cut by glass, and I experienced going home bleeding, literally, because I got cut by glass. But that's something that you have to endure because this is the process that is needed. And then, okay, have you ever tried doing sandblasting? Okay, this one is an experience. Okay, sandblasting, when you do sandblasting, it's bad for your lungs because you use sand,
Yes.
right? And during that time, siyempre, you were young. Okay lang yan. It's okay. I can do it. I do my own sandblasting samples. So for small pieces, I do the work, do the design, cut the stencil, paste it on the glass, remove the stencil, expose the area where you want to sandblast. I don't know whether I have students here. Miss Ethel, did you do something like that before? Because during that time when I was teaching class, I require them to do hands-on. Parang, ako lang mahihirap. Kayo din, feel nyo. Yeah. So during that time when I had to do all the samples myself, I'm not what do you call that? Safety was not an issue for me. I just want to get things done. So there are times when you feel you can feel the sand inside your throat lung. You know what? What's the solution to that? My crazy friends, my crazy colleagues, gin lang katapat niyan. Anything gin. I say, huh? Gin. Well,
It is very true.
Familiar po.
yeah, because that's what they do. Because workers during that time, they don't. It's not also to use masks. It's not also to use all this protective gear, PPE. So when it's your turn to do it, and they know na feel mo gin lang katapat niyan. Which is true naman, true enough. Okay, one shot of gin. Yeah, it melted the sand, and then we're not using sand. We're using aluminum oxide, something like that. So when you do sandblasting, I also know if you use low grade sandblasting, your sandblasting will not be very fine. If you use aluminum oxide, that's very, very fine. You can recycle it several times and it still becomes very, very, the edges of your glass etching will be very solid. See, that's what I mean. If you use cheap materials, you get not so nice quality product. If you use high-end materials or not so high-end, but quality materials, you'll get the quality that you want. So I can therefore say and therefore conclude that that is the base of your pricing, why it is expensive. Costing.
Yeah.
But again, if you cannot afford, okay lang, we find other solutions. We use sticker. Diba?
Yeah.
You can get the glass from me. You cannot do glass etching. You don't have the budget. Okay, I think cheaper. Let's go find some sticker for you. It still serves the purpose of like blocking the sun, not getting you hot. Diba? So I find solution for you.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Miss Jo, follow up lang dun sa sticker. Because that's still very widely. I use that also for my projects,
Yeah.
mainly because of
Yes.
costing. But
Yes,
one of
you
the
see?
things that I personally encounter is after 5 years, even 3 years, my client would call, Hana, nagbo-bubbles.
Yes.
Right?
That
Yeah,
actually,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
that is one of the
Ones of
what do you call that?
budgeting.
No. That is one of the disadvantage. Sorry, disadvantage of using film. Okay, number one, when you use film, right? Is it already installed? The glass is already installed, or
Yeah,
not?
it
Okay,
was installed already.
you have to explain to your client, ma'am, sir, installed na po yan. So there is a tendency after 3 years it will bubble. Why? Because there
It was
is
exposed already.
impurities. Yeah, there are impurities already on the glass. And in order for any sticker, okay, 3M pa yan, or what are the other brands? Sorry, 3M lang alam ko.
I use 3M.
See?
I
Yeah,
only use
kahit,
3M.
see, kahit
Yeah.
3M pa yan, even if it's still 3M, they will tell
Yeah.
you the glass should be very clean. Okay? And at
Okay.
the same time, you have to make sure that there is enough. How do they do it? Diba? You spray water. And then you stick, and then you squeegee, diba?
Yes.
Oh,
And then pag may bubbles,
you have to
may
make,
sponge. Yes.
you have to make sure that the water is evenly dispersed and evenly applied onto the film.
Okay.
You have to tell your client that I cannot, and then you ask 3M, what is your warranty? If 3M gives you 2 years warranty, you give your client one. That's trade secret. Not unless you let
Yeah.
3M install.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then you
Yes,
can give the
yes, yes.
client,
Mhm.
their warranty.
Yes, yes.
But
Yeah,
if you ask someone,
I asked
Yeah.
because I'm sure the students will more or less specify this in their design plates. So just so they
Yeah.
know that these are some of the, challenges in practice that you will face. Now, when you specify sticker in glass, it's not always going to be as perfect. One of the things pa na magiging problem niyan if you print the photo po, 'di ba, Miss, sa
Eh,
sticker, it will fade or discolor depending on the type of printer or sticker that you use. So be careful with the type of sticker that you will use in the glass. So that's why I asked Miss Jo just to verify kung
yes,
yeah, it's
I
not an
agree.
isolated case.
It's not an
yeah,
isolated
it
case. It is
happens.
a
It
Yeah,
case.
actually
yeah, yeah.
happens in
Mm-mm.
practice. It
Yeah,
happens.
yeah. Mm-mm.
Yeah. But I
So
recommend, I always recommend 3M. I like the reason why I like 3M is because they do the installation
yes,
themselves.
they install for you
Yeah.
on site. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they can give you the warranty. So at least they will know, or you will know that their warranty is based on what they can give you only.
Correct.
Yeah. And don't go beyond the warranty also, because sometimes, people will want to like get away with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
moving on, Miss Jo, I think we still have a little more questions. So I think one of the question here is, I actually like this because it's very, very popular now. Is glass
Okay.
sustainable? And how does
Oh,
glass design and production contribute to design sustainability?
I already have the answer to that. That question is number what? What
Nine.
number? Number
Nine. It's number
nine.
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 Okay, number nine ba yan? Are you sure? Because number nine
Yeah.
is can integration of
And smart glass
smart
technology.
glass.
And
That's
that
number
that
nine.
next
Number
question.
10.
Number
Okay,
Ah,
10.
number
okay.
10. Okay,
Iba
what's
yung
the number
numbering.
10?
Nag-iiba yung numbering dito. Okay, sige.
Ha?
Sige, sige.
Okay.
Okay lang yan. Okay, so is glass sustainable? Yes. Why? It is recyclable. It can be reused. It can be
Mhm.
recycled. It can be repurposed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Diba? And at the same time, where we get our glass is from suppliers that has the cradle to cradle certification. Google it. Cradle to cradle certification, that is a sustainability standard nowadays, and it's required here in Singapore and also in Europe, wherein glass suppliers must submit their how they process their glass, how they dispose their glass, and are there any what do you call that, chemicals involved that is harmful to the environment. That's why nowadays mirrors don't have what?
Lead.
And
Oh,
copper.
yeah.
Mhm.
Are you
Copper. Lead and
copper
copper.
free mirror? Lead free
Yes.
mirror, right? So that's why all our mirrors come from Belgium, Asahi. Asahi Glass Belgium. Because of that, because we have encountered projects wherein, okay, there are times when we use China mirrors, not in this company, the other company, and when we use an adhesive that is that is acetic, meaning or what you call that, mastic, mirror mastic or something,
Yeah. Yeah. Mirror mastic. That's what they use.
it's going to what do you call that? It
Mark.
will be seen. It will have
Yes.
markings,
Mhm.
right? And what do
Yeah.
they do? They apply sticker onto that backing. My God! And then okay, then what will happen to the sticker if the adhesion of the sticker is no longer, like how many years are we talking about? So you have to consider that if you, especially mirrors. Okay, I have a client just recently. Where's your mirror from? Is it from China? No. Okay. How are we going to install this? Then okay, only use non-acetic sealant and three, because when we do when I do product testing, or when I talk to suppliers, how do you install this? Do you have
Mhm.
a specific brand? Do you have a specific process of how to install mirrors? And I also had that issue a few years back when we attended the seminar by the supplier. So the supplier said, okay, seminar, how to install like that. Okay. So you know that when you apply mirror or when you install mirror, for us, they also say must have a sticker, very high bond sticker. 3M in between 1 foot apart of the adhesive. Why? Because when you apply adhesive onto mirrors, you cannot like put so many on the mirror itself. Why? Because it doesn't dry properly. You need that gap for air to come in and make it what do you call that, solid. So these are the things that I always explain to installers. You have to know all these things because at the end of the day, we're gonna have problems in the future because there was one issue. I don't know whether you watched that video or she was doing a video, something, a talk or something, and then the mirror dropped. Just like that dropped. And lucky she wasn't there. She wasn't in front of the mirror. She walked away. And the mirror didn't fall off like that. It just like dropped like that. So imagine the mirror wasn't properly installed. So that is one of the considerations. Always put something below the mirror. What do you call that? I forgot. So as you can see in my previous slide, right? The mirror always sits on something, right? Not unless you can guarantee to the owner that this will not fall.
Okay.
Sure.
But just a question, because I've asked several glass suppliers. The one thing that they couldn't, I'm not sure if this is true, if the one thing that they can't seem to recycle is the ones that are tempered. They keep saying that we can't do anything about tempered. So I'm not sure if it's true. So that's why I'm trying to ask you, what about the tempered glasses, like shower enclosures, for example?
Okay, for tempered glass, right? They cannot actually they cannot cut tempered glass. They cannot
Yes.
recycle because once they make a wrong measurement, you cannot recut anything,
Yes.
especially if it's tempered because it'll break. But it is recyclable because you always, for us, when we have tempered glass and we need to recycle, we just break the tempered glass and then we have a recycling system wherein all our glass, what do you call it, waste are picked up and recycled in a recycling plant here. So it doesn't go to waste. And then we always separate glass and other materials like, those, what do you call that, empty shells of sealants, like that. We always separate. So I think it's more or less the system, but if someone says it's not recyclable, it is recyclable.
That's why I was like, I was amazed.
It cannot
Hindi
be
siya pwede.
cut. It cannot be cut anymore. Well, I think probably what he means by recyclable, you cannot reuse.
Yeah, you cannot.
Yeah.
Okay,
Probably.
you cannot reuse.
Right.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's the term reuse. You cannot reuse because a wrong measurement, naman, sir.
Which
Wala
happens.
Yeah, I have nowhere to put this, so I cannot reuse this. But that doesn't mean you cannot recycle. Di basagin, after you make basag, then you recycle.
Yeah.
Okay,
just
okay lang yun. Just to
Alright.
clear lang naman. Don't get angry with him. Probably wrong term lang naman.
I'm not naman, miss.
Wrong term lang. Misunderstandings happen even in sites.
Yes,
Project.
very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially when it's almost turnover.
Ay,
Yeah,
my gosh. Imagine
Yeah.
turnover, mababasag pa, di ba?
exactly.
Heart pain. Oh, that
I
happens a
think
lot.
we have another question via
Yeah.
chat. Like,
Yeah.
what type of glass adhesive is being used in an all clear tempered glass furniture?
Oh, you mean the one, we call that all glass furniture assembly. We use UV glue,
Oh, okay.
UV adhesive. And
Yes.
this type of glue is very expensive, but it is accessible. You can get that. Yeah, so that's what you call it. It's a UV glue from Europe,
UV glue.
Germany.
Okay. All right.
Okay, another
Okay.
question is Jo. Can the integration of smart glass technology assure designers in grabbing people's attention? Can you give or show some sample projects relating to this?
Oh yes, it does. Like I showed the actual
Yeah,
product
Yeah, a while
installation
ago,
earlier.
yes.
It does. It
Yes.
adds value actually because why? Aside from just a plain facade, instead of just using it like okay, you can see through, but at night there's no use. Then you use smart glass, make it opaque, and then you can like focus or you can like show show advertisements there. But again, when we did this project, we had to liaise or work with a lighting company or a company that does projections, and
Mhm.
they had to specify what type of projector to be used with this type of glass, because
Mhm.
glass is still glass, light will still pass through. So how many lumens do I need for my film or for my show to really like stand out, to be very clear? So if I'm not mistaken, I recall we had to change twice the equipment, the projector, because it
Mhm.
doesn't match the what they call that, the specification of the designer. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So does that mean it has to be anti-glare also?
No, not really, but it's more or less like because from far, okay, from far, right, you can see it clearly. And
Uh,
another thing is that, okay, in terms of this one, using this type of like glass, depends on the
Mhm.
application, it can create chaos and it can create awareness. What's the other one? Whether it will create what's that? What's the term that he used? Uh, will it attract people? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
it will
Yeah,
Yeah.
attract
yeah.
people definitely, but it can also attract accidents, because if it is position, because yeah, when they do projections here, they make sure that it's not in a highway, it's not
uh-huh.
in a high traffic
That-
area, because
Mhm.
they don't want people to like stop and then, you know,
Yeah.
especially if you show, those seductive
Um,
models, like
Mhm.
Victoria's Secret models, and then you're driving, and then you look,
yeah.
accidents happen.
Mhm.
So it really depends where you're going to use it. And at the
Okay.
same time, yeah, it does attract attention, depending,
All right.
depending,
Uh,
depending.
all right.
Okay.
Um, Next question. Um, okay, last question on the
Yeah.
list, but
Last. Yeah.
another question on the chat box.
Yeah,
Okay,
may
so
it's not on the chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
how do you apply trends while using glass in different interior settings?
How do I apply trends? Okay, trending now, trending now in glass. Okay, there's this company that I always follow and I like. They're called Glass Designs, Glass Italia, and the designer is my favorite designer also, Patricia Orcola. Yeah, she has designed glass in a very simple, very. Oh yeah, I love her too. Thank you, Charlene. And her design concept is very simple, and her frameworks. Okay, I'm working with someone from Italy who's bringing in very thin metal framings for my glass. So because I told him I want this concept of this designer like that, because nowadays all the frames are very thick, and then and it's like like the glass already, like, because when you add the glass already it becomes very small. Oh, we're coming up with this product like that. Okay, after COVID, let's talk. So that's what I like. So it's like linear lines, pattern glass, minimal color, very thin framing. That's it. I think nowadays it's more minimalism. It's like, and then and because of the pandemic, definitely you want to save costs, right? And who wants to construct now? Tell me, who wants to do construction nowadays? A few people, of course. There are naman a few people. So you
There
have to
are pa
help them.
rin. There are pa
Of
rin.
Yeah,
course, yeah.
they
That's
have
why
this.
you have to more or less like propose something that is new, and it is, so that's what
Mature.
we do now. Yeah, so those are the trends, like those type of glass, and at the same time digital printing, everything digital, because you don't want to go to the site and talk. So just send me drawing. Okay, I want this one. I want this. I want that. Okay, so you want to make it nice. Okay, so I add this. I add that. That's what happened to one. Okay, I got one project in Cambodia. Yeah, in Cambodia, Hilton, Cambodia,
Mhm.
and the designer wants something for the bed head again, same as what I showed you. So these are 300 something rooms, and she said that this is the design. They want the graphic. They have the graphic. The graphics more or less related to the culture of Cambodia. So it's very organic at the same time. How to say, abstract? Okay, so she wants something like this, but in glass, because number one, of course, maintenance, because if you use other materials like fabric, if you use leather, very difficult to maintain. You have to clean, you have to add more people to clean. And nowadays, who's going to clean? So this one is still in schematic stage of the design, and my sample has already been approved. So hopefully it will be on tender in the next few months. So what they want something like very simple, and they want something very sturdy using this design, and they want something reflective, but not reflective. So imagine that again. Imagine they want something reflective but not reflective. I go, okay. Reflective is definitely a
Okay.
mirror. Okay, yeah, I want something like a mirror. Okay, fine. But you don't want reflective. So which one do you want reflective? The mirror or the glass from front? Both. Okay. So, okay, I found a solution, man. Okay, so if you don't want something like that, okay, so I'll do the printing in front of the glass. So it's a laminated glass, printing in front, so it will have the texture of the design. Okay, and then we make it 2D because these are two different types of. It's actually one graphic. So I say let's separate the graphic. Okay, meaning one graphic in front, the other one behind. So it will have that effect that, oh, may gap, so may depth, ilalim. Okay, sige, ayaw mo ng reflective. Fine, I will use a different kind of interlayer. Interlayer is the one that bonds the glass together. So I use, instead of using translucent, I use cool white. Cool white is a very, parang, it's like, what is it? Satin in terms of fabric. It's like satin, so it's very, very thin, but it's not totally opaque like translucent like frosted. So it's in between frosted and clear. And then the mirror. So let's not use clear mirror because your graphic is already white. Let's use bronze. And then let's not make it too white. Let's make it a bit gray. And then the white one will be inside. So, okay. And then I said, parang kulang pa. So there were two options. One is that one. So we did the printing on one side and the other one on the other side. But two techniques. So that means one using ceramic printing, and the other one is using UV printing, because you cannot use both sides ceramic. Once it's already tempered, and it's only one side. But I can still print using UV. Okay, so that's one. And then when it came out, parang, I still looks flat. Parang, we need more depth. Okay, so I said, okay, dagdagan natin another texture from behind, sa mirror naman. So sabi ko, okay, so anong gagawin natin? What will we do? I'll etch the mirror from behind. I said, yeah, we can add another layer. So ayun, but because this one will be pasted onto the wall, but we still have to color. So what color? Kailangan yung color that will stand out because it's a bronze mirror. Okay, then let's put white. Oh, I know white. Oh, so that's how the concept came up. So it's like that. It's like ping pong of ping pong of, I call it ping pong of ideas until one of you give up. Diba? It's like that. I mean, for me, it's like that. So now it's being specified and it's being let's see whether it becomes tender. Now the problem now that I will be facing, if this is in Cambodia, and I hope they have the budget, even though it's Hilton, the contractor,
Yeah.
diba?
Yeah.
So now you have to have plan B already. Okay, make bawas the design to make bawas the cost, like that. So that's how you use trends. So you have to know what material and what technique is available, and then you just come up with something, right? Come up with something nice like that. You know.
Have
So
to
if
know
you have
your
already, if you already have a design in mind and you want something like classy, definitely. If you want classy, definitely have budget. Then use gold. Not literally gold, but gold leaf or gold paint. Gold paint, mind you, there are nice gold paints available, and they can really like shine. So it really depends on the material that you use.
right,
That
Miss.
are you ready?
I guess we asked this last question. What is from Miss Charlene? What is usually the reason why some tempered glass tabletop shatter even without any impact?
Okay, any impact damage, spontaneous breakage. Okay, I'll show you a technique. If anything tempered breaks, like I showed in the slide, right? You find the butterfly effect. There's a butterfly there, like You know how a butterfly like
Mhm.
1 and 2. The center
Yes.
of the butterfly, there will be a dot. It only means that the glass used has sulfur nitrate, which is an impurity during the process. The one is inevitable. It will really break in time because the glass
Okay.
used is not pure when tempered.
Mm.
So you call that spontaneous breakage. So lucky you only have one table. Imagine if you have 100 tables and you have this. Okay.
Impurity. Yeah.
And one more
So
thing, when we're talking about tempered glass, always get the glass from one batch because that's what we do. When we do
Okay.
tempering, and we're talking about 200 pieces of tabletops, 200 pieces
Yeah.
of tabletops we get from one batch, meaning, okay, I got 10 sheets. Can 10 sheets finish my 200, can cover all my 200 pieces? If yes, you get from that batch.
Mhm.
Okay, otherwise you segment, meaning 100 for this batch. If the glass stock is not 100 from this batch. Reason being is that you can identify which batch is susceptible to spontaneous breakage. As I
yeah.
said earlier, you need to have a heat soak test for that. So if you have that heat soak test, if 20% of that batch fails or breaks during the process, okay, what is the process of heat soak? Heat soak, what's that? Okay, the glass undergoes tremendous change in temperature. Aside from the tempering, it's already tempered, right? Aside from the temperature, it still undergoes certain different changes in temperature, just to test whether it can be very hot, then change to very cold, very hot, very cold, and a certain times like that. So it's like a test, really a test.
Mhm.
So if 20% of that breaks of the 100, so definitely 100, we have to make 100. If when they order from us 100 pieces of glass and they order heat soak, that 100 pieces we add 20 more. Tama ba?
Mhm.
20% eh. Basta we add 20 more. So on the 20%, so within the 20% or that number breaks, okay, goodbye batch. That's what I mean, goodbye batch. Yeah. So we have to go back to the supplier. Your quality is very bad.
So
Something like that.
right.
So
What is
far, yeah, it's worth it
Ay.
naman. And we always do this for facade glass. Oh my gosh. Sakit sa ulong facade, actually. But we have to do this because, and
yes.
there are times, when we have clients and say, can you replace 200 or 100 pieces of glass? I say, why? What happens? Spontaneous breakage. Okay, we do the glass. That's why another thing is that when we do tempering, you have to have your logo, company logo, so you will know if this glass is from you or not. Because if it's not from you, why will you do it? Why will you accept the job?
Mhm.
Diba? And you have to match, especially the
Mhm.
color of the facade. You have to match, you have to follow the configuration. If it's from you, it's okay. But if it's not from
Yes.
you, how? We have a lot of these issues. But at first, the specification is us, and then they order somewhere, contractor orders somewhere, and then the owner, the owner and the architect call us, and they say, we're not the ones who did this, so why are you calling us? They didn't know. Oh, can you help us? Help us, please. No choice. And you say no?
No.
All right.
Okay. All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
I think we've covered pretty much all of the questions.
Yes.
And thank you for very explaining it so much for us and giving us another light in terms of glass as a canvas, really. And I think
Yeah.
this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah,
And then
truly
why
is.
glass as a canvas? Because
Yes.
like canvas, no, you can add color, you can and it can be an artwork.
Yes.
That's why I call it like that. At first, double S. Eh. Sorry. Thank you for the correction.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I think Miss Han, take us
Yeah.
away.
We will present you with a little something, Miss Reg. Kakantahan ka na. Ay, Miss Jo.
Sige.
Kakantahan ka ni Miss Kat. Hindi, Jo.
Kantahan mo ako ng
Si
belated
Miss
happy
Reg ang
birthday.
kakanta po. Ako, ano lang po, background.
Baka hindi madala si Miss Jo eh, kapag kumanta.
All right. just for a while. But thank you, Miss Jo. We really appreciate your time and your effort and um, concluding or going
For
back to all
sharing.
your
Yeah.
past projects and
Yeah,
sharing
there's
each
more.
experience. Yeah, so we really appreciate it.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so
Thank you, then. Thank you.
yeah, and to the
Serious.
students who stayed, thank you, thank you. We
Thank you,
appreciate it.
students.
We hope you
Yes.
learned something.
We
And
hope you learned a lot.
hopefully this is just the start. And if you guys have any questions, just feel free to ask, and your teachers will do their best to answer. Okay,
Yes.
so
Your teachers can call me. They know my
yeah.
number.
Yes.
So yeah.
Oh, what's that? Thank you.
Yes, okay. So allow me to present to you your certificate for this afternoon. The De La Salle College of St. Benil School of Design and Arts Interior Design Program, Manila, Philippines, is honored to present the Certificate of Appreciation to Ms. Joanna S. Frias for generously sharing their expertise in glass as a canvas, a webinar focusing on the process, production, and art of glass as a material in the practice of interior design. This webinar is organized by DLS CSP Interior Design Program, third online term of academic year 2020 to 2021, given this 9th of July 2021. Signed, interior designer Catherine Ann G. Correa, program chairperson, Ms. Christine Cheryl Bennett, associate dean of Environment Studies Cluster, and architect Acela D. Domingo, dean of the School of Design and Arts. So in behalf of the program, the whole Benilde Interior Design family, Miss Joanna, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your knowledge to us.
My pressure and pleasure at the same
And
time.
I hope you can still okay madadala. Okay.
No,
Yes.
I
Babalik po
haven't
ulit.
showed you the samples yet, di ba?
Yes,
We've,
yes. Hopefully
we've
we can
No
already
schedule
time.
soon.
yeah,
Again.
we've already practiced on showing the the
Next time, we'll be prepared.
Who knows, maybe when the world is better, we can all take a trip to Singapore as a
Why
program
not?
yes.
and visit the
Plants,
showroom and
right?
the plant, right? So
Yeah, our
mas
plant is in
maintindihan.
JB. Yeah,
Yeah,
our
yeah,
plant is in JB. Why not?
yeah.
So we hit two
You
countries
should.
with one passport.
True, true. Miss Sash, do you have yes, Miss Sash will be the one closing our session for today with a brief synthesis.
Yes.
Okay. First off, thank you very much, Miss Jo, for sharing your personal journey with us and how you eventually found your passion in using glass from looking through the same glass windows when you were just little, diba? And how you
Yeah, literal
transitioned
until
to be
now.
one of the most highly recognized specialists in the field of glass industry. You were able to show us also the transition of different glass application from church windows all the way to modern application by different architects and artists. The different technical techniques and process that we would be able to come up with to be able to have this beautiful works of art, and what considerations we need to take into account, what we want in able to have that customized designs, especially in large scale sizes, differences in budget, and different materials and functions we can actually incorporate in the glass. So some examples that you stated were the heat strengthened, the tempered, the laminated, and many more, especially the fire rated glass, the laser engraved, and the latest technology, which is smart glass. And of course, just to give importance of learning the software AutoCAD as well, because most of the designers now are using SketchUp, diba? That AutoCAD is still being used in the glass industry for the automated portion of technology. And because of this, we hope that interior designers like us and future interior designers would actually realize that there is not much limitation nowadays for glass because of all the technologies that are readily available in the market. So basically, the limitation that we can have in terms of our vision as designers and how much is basically how much creativity we have in ourselves and how much we are willing to take into the next level and be more adventurous in using glass as our canvas for our next projects. So, an important takeaway, the importance of not burning bridges in any industry, how much collaboration, trust, and network is actually important for designers, suppliers, and contractors in making this artworks actually turn into a successful canvas project. So, thank you very much, Ms. Jo.
Yes,
Thank you so
and
much,
just
Miss
to
Jo.
give you a note also about AutoCAD, right? Because in the industrial setup, when you use CNC machines, we
Mhm.
use vector files, and not just
Oh,
not just
okay.
in CNC machines, but also in graphic. Because when you do cutouts for the vinyls for
Yeah.
etching works, you need vector files.
All right.
So yeah, and nowadays in Singapore, the word very common word nowadays is BIM.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The,
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
BIM.
Yes.
And sustainability. So from
yeah.
zero to,
Important.
yeah. So consider that. I mean, kids, nowadays, you are the future of our generation.
Yes.
Okay. So
Okay.
do your best.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Sash. Thank you, Miss Jo, for all of the
Yeah.
very inspirational words.
Thank
Right.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
That was
Thank you,
very
guys.
enlightening.
Yeah.
Next question.
Actually, for the benefit of the students who are still here, please stay tuned because our webinar will just keep elevating. If last week, if the last lighting webinar and the history webinar and then the glass webinar, next week it's all about design process. We have invited two notable designers who are
Yeah,
exposed
very.
in both local and international trade design and exhibition shows. So they're Rita Nazareno and Gabby Lichalco. They actually participate in Manila Fame, Maison and Objet, and a whole lot more of shows. So please invite your friends, not only in interior design but also in other
Yeah.
courses as well, because we will open this to them. So please spread the word. And yeah, thank you for staying. You're probably really curious. That's why you stayed until right now. And we hope that Miss Jo was able to answer all the questions that you have. So yeah, thank you, students. It's
Thank
nice to
you,
see you.
everyone.
Um, Thank you for another event. Thank you to the co-hosts, to our chairperson,
You're
and
welcome.
to my co tech support, Miss Sash. Miss Jo, thank you again for your valuable time. And we're
No
looking
worries.
forward to the second installation of our talk.
Yay.
Thank
So
you.
that concludes our day. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us and attending Glasses a Canvas. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Thanks,
Thank
Bye.
you,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.